Good. Okay, call the meeting to order for the Wheaton Town Board meeting for Tuesday, November 12th. Everything was posted. Call the meeting to order. Rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. A moment silent for service personnel. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll is the same as it was previously. Approval of the agenda.
I make a motion we approve the Tuesday, November 12th, 2019 Town of Wheaton Board meeting agenda.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Clerk's report, previous minutes from October 8th, October 23rd, and the check register, which check came through. Everybody had a chance to look at that. And signed it, I think, so we can file that. Any questions on the board meetings, either one of them?
I make a motion, we accept them as written.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the meeting minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Let's go with that there. Public comments. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm Mike Peterson, 3631.
Can you step up there just because it only because it, well, the taping is.
Okay. I'm Mike Peterson. I live on 3631 25th Street, the area that got hit by the tornado. I stopped over to Scott and Jody Alney's, and they had a lot of concern about the refuse that was picked up in the fields and piled in their field. The DNR brought some great big dumpsters in there to remove the product, but what they did was there's so much refuse left there that now it's blowing in the balance of the fields that the kids and everybody just picked up. Not only that, but I consider the soil contaminated. Not by any liquid or anything like that, but I mean there's boots, there's tar paper, there's nails, everything. That's their pasture. And I had some pictures developed today. I guess what I would like to do is show the board members, people that have not seen the mess. It is really disgusting.
Thank you, Mike.
And I think they have a legitimate grief, and they were promised that it was going to get cleaned up, not necessarily by the town of Wheaton, but also by the DNR. And they haven't kept their end of the bargain, and I feel sorry for them. As far as I'm concerned, the town of Wheaton did a phenomenal job. I mean, I think the adrenaline took over and everybody did a phenomenal job, but it's all these little things. When I drive down the service road, I see piles of lumber and things like that. Stuff like that can probably wait till spring. But as far as their case, it can't. It's got to be cleaned up now. And I think if you took a look at the pictures, it would, if it was on your property, you'd really be disgusted. And I really can't blame them for being disgusted also. That's it.
Thanks, Mike. And so, and I'll address a little because I went over there and looked at it. And sure, you can.
Scott Allman, Jody Allman, 3434 County Highway X. Just a little background on what happened after the tornado. DNR was out there cleaning up to ask if they could use a corner of our pasture as a dump site. And we agreed, and they said, we promise we'll get it cleaned up and we're all done. And so we had no reason not to believe them. And so anyway, you know, it sat there for quite a while, and there was dumpsters brought in, a lot of stuff was cleaned up, but then a pile was left. And then talking to Mark, he said, yep, well, we were at the fire station at that meeting, we'll get it cleaned up. And so it sat there for a while, then they did come and get the big stuff out. Then the process of that with skid loaders and grapples, I mean, everything kind of got worked in the soil. And so then Jody called the DNR, she talked to 3 or 4 different people. They said there wasn't much they could do, but they were the ones that, they stood there and promised us that they would make sure it was restored back to a pasture. Mark stopped out, he told us not to talk to the DNR, that they did their job and that he'd make sure it was done. So it's more just so the rest of the board knows how it kind of came about, where we're sitting. We're sitting now, the pasture's not usable. And if we take the topsoil off to get rid of the debris, then we're left with sand, which is no good for a pasture either. So I don't know, you know, like Mike says, we can get some of the soil removed, and that there's a construction project happening, that you have some topsoil that you could bring out there then to kind of cover it back up, would, you know, would help us a lot.
So, a couple of things, and I told you that what it was gonna take is we had to get some volunteers, and we've been trying to get them together, and actually, I mean, we just couldn't get them together this past weekend, and that was the week before, I think, that I talked to you.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you had also mentioned there were people coming to the fire station looking for things to do, volunteers.
oh, no, I said that you gotta, one of the things to do was put your name up there, and then people would sign up, but.
We did put our name up there because we had volunteered our place and I talked to you. And so you
Yeah.
knew that we needed people to come.
Well, no, I'm, and we just don't have, I haven't had anybody come up there to say they were gonna volunteer, but then I see in the paper or something it was that I saw that, equestrian club from Chippewa was out and working up in the 26th. The other day, so, yeah, I mean, and that's the groups that we gotta find, or we were going to try and get some people together to do that, we just
I mean,
haven't
I
had a
understand
chance.
everybody's busy, so
Yeah.
maybe we're looking
but-
for more of what is the commitment and how it's gonna be done, you know,
Sure.
sort of a timeline.
Sure, go ahead, Mike.
I guess, a couple things too is that, you know, if you saw those big dumpsters out there, it must be an asset for Scott and Jody to throw all their junk in there. They personally rented 4 dumpsters for their own personal stuff, so those out in the horse pasture were no merit at all. Another thing, addressing the volunteers and things like that, it's great for all the outgoing tar paper and everything else that the people already picked up, that's now blowing back out in the field. That's a great thing. But to solve this problem, I guess my solution would be if we could take a township payloader, and because this refuge is 1.5 foot, 2 feet down. And we take the payloader and swoop that up and dispose of that stuff somewhere. That's the solution.
So the DNR has turned you down that they won't clean it up, is that what you're saying?
No,
They have told me that they were representing the Wheaton Town.
Well, and they were, yeah, and that's what it was, they were organizing
If
I-
you would have more clout than Scott and Jody by saying, hey, you guys made these folks a commitment, do you think you could arrange to have that problem corrected?
well, and that, we'll have to look at what we can do. I don't know, as far as putting the town end loader out there, I guess I'm not.
Or if the DNR could, provide, that's what it's gonna take is the end loader. It's great to have volunteers. The volunteers can pick up the tar paper that's back out on the field that they've already picked up. But I mean, to actually dig out the pictures that I, left up at the table, dig that stuff out, that's the only way that's the solution to it.
But I mean, does anybody know about this except for you, Bud? That's what I'm seeing, is it, Mark, sorry. See, is that you're the only one that knows about this, so
Oh,
how?
well, yeah, Alice knows.
Alice is stocked out.
I stopped out, yeah.
I know I talked to the town guys, and I know, Matt has spent about a week over there totally with the end loader loading up those dumpsters and
Yeah,
that.
they got all
The,
the big
t-
stuff.
the town guys are way behind in getting ready for their winter stuff right now. They just, I mean, they're about 6 weeks behind. They just got done mixing sand and salt the end of last week, which should have been done a month ago.
Yeah,
and
no,
I
I
just-
totally understand that, everybody's.
It's kinda hard to push them, they've put a lot of extra hours in already.
I mean, you wait until summer or spring to clean it up. You know, the snow and rain's gonna push it down further, unless you are gonna take it all off. But then, we're still kind of in a bad spot, where let's have sand there, which is no good either for us. I mean, we did it as a, you know, trying to help out everybody else, everybody's trying to help out at that point. We had no, we wouldn't have said yes again, you asked, use our property for a dump site. I mean, it's just what everybody was doing. But now it's time to, get it back to where we need it back to. Thanks.
Hey, Brian, I mean, I don't know if the guys at the fire department wanna go out there. I mean, we were gonna bring that up last night,
We're all busy too.
Yeah, I know.
Can we take the end loader and scoop that
I
up?
don't know. I don't know what we do with the material. I don't know. I'd have to ask what we can do with that then.
Because we could kick the end loader and do.
You
I
got,
guess you can haul it to the dump.
Could we
where are you gonna
into
put it
that
at the
middle?
dump?
Could we put
No, not I mean, to the landfill.
Who's gonna end up paying for that?
Well, town would end up paying for it. I mean,
Why should we pay for it?
it's a dumpster cost.
Did Wheaton or Chippewa County get any disaster relief money?
Not at this point.
Have we asked for it?
We're filing the papers.
Okay, so that could be something that you do.
Oh, it could be, yeah. Yeah, it definitely would be. That's what we wanna know. Actually, I wanna know if we're gonna do something that's gonna cost some money, I need to know that pretty quick, cause we gotta have that filed by November 23rd. And then that could be part of it, for sure. Definitely part of the, they'll pay 70% or whatever, so, yeah, that's. So I don't know what you guys wanna, what you would think. I mean, we don't really wanna,
I think
it's
our,
not really on the agenda, so.
I think our town,
My place
Take
got
care.
hit in 1980,
We'd have to put
it
it on
leveled
the
that
agenda.
farm. And I had State Farm Insurance, who I had to sue, they wouldn't pay nothing. But I had to hire a guy, he dug a hole, I don't know, 30 feet long, I don't know how deep. Buried everything in there.
Don't tell anybody that, though.
I was told to do that.
Can't do that anymore. Don't
That-
tell people we're.
that
gonna
was
do
40 years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
Those rules don't apply
I don't know,
anymore.
that's the.
It had to be buried so it was tillable soil. So now Gary Menard and all them, they farm, Hawkins, they're farming over it now.
Yeah, it's not actually legal
But
to
that's
dig a
where
hole,
everything
bury
went.
anything these days without permits, but yeah, that's the problem with it, is that if you scoop it up. How big is that area, Mike?
It's 100 yards by 100 yards, I walked it out.
That's a pretty big area.
Yeah.
That's gonna take quite a few dumpsters or dump trucks out of there.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike.
I was wondering, like Armstrong Construction up here, or, whatever is on T, right across from the Wander Inn, they've got them deals that clean the dirt, clean the pebbles and rocks and all that stuff out of the black dirt so that they can sell it.
Oh, sifters.
Yeah, them
Yeah.
sifters. I wonder if they could just maybe get something like that in there
Yeah.
and clean the dirt that's there.
The only problem is that you run it through a sifter, all the nails are gonna come out of there and get back into the dirt again. The sifters,
I got maintenance.
I don't know how big their screens are.
I got maintenance bills.
yeah.
We also on a bag that said a lot of the nails are aluminum.
Mhm.
So, I get this right now, we got until, in the event where Scott and Jody found a contractor to dig it out and replenish it with black dirt, and they submitted that estimate to you, you could submit it for this disaster relief, correct? By the 23rd?
Yeah, well, Scott, when do we,
Of this month, that's gonna happen fast.
you know?
Will they pay for the black dirt replacement?
I don't, well, I mean,
I
we
don't
can
think they
certainly
will
submit
they?
that.
Under the circumstances.
Well, yeah, I mean,
We can
that's,
try,
that,
we can try.
you know, I don't have a problem with trying to do that. That might be the way to do that, to be able to get that done, just because if it's that deep, I was out there, it didn't look to me like it was that deep, but then I didn't take anything to dig around in there and check either, so.
Yeah, it's nasty, it's down.
When was the last time you were there?
That was what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks, yeah, a week before last. Week before this one.
How far do you think it goes down, Mike?
I figured 2 feet, because what he did was he used an excavator with the thumb and the clamp, you know?
Speeds,
went
yeah.
down, and so basically it stirred it up. So whatever's on the surface is now down below also.
Yeah, I don't know how much.
And they use that to load the refuse into these great big dumpsters.
Right, it's about the only way you can do it.
Right.
Yeah, that's, you know, you always gotta have one place that's, I don't know, I mean, if we could get a hold of some way of pricing that.
Right.
Cause, you know, because we've got a pile of chips up there yet that, you don't need a whole bunch of wood chips, do you?
It doesn't do much good.
Well, they'll rot away and make black dirt. I mean, you know,
They,
are you willing to pay for the dirt if we can't get refunded for it?
Why don't we go to step number 1 first?
Already had black.
You
I
know,
mean, I could see, yeah.
Give those back then, Mark.
I don't have a problem with black dirt, but we got black dirt,
I mean,
What about having them
we've got black dirt.
talk about somebody coming, scraping that off and then putting that to the disaster relief? How about that?
Let me check, if you can check that, Mike, can you check that?
What would you do, Wayne, if it was on your property? Honestly.
well, I guess what I would do is I'd hire somebody to come in with an end loader and put it in a big pile for the winter until the
their
D,
cost.
huh?
At their cost, even though the
And
DNR
then call the DNR to come in and say, hey, you said you were gonna clean it up, pick it up
Well,
now.
what the DNR told me was that.
I mean, I feel for you, don't get me wrong, I do. But,
The DNR told us that they were representing the Wheaton Township, that's what they told me.
Well, yeah, they were directing, what their job was, is to direct volunteers, is to organize and keep the volunteers doing stuff.
Well, that's
was
not what
done.
the DNR guy,
They
discussion,
just
obviously
promised
wasn't
us.
discussing that with me, he was
No.
discussing that with, about putting a dumpster, a dump site up there, and I said, yeah, that was fine. Jeff Degenkopf was down to negotiate, it's not just me,
Yeah.
it was on his property too.
Can you imagine if it went on Jeff Dagenkoff's property? He would be screaming.
and like I said, I can see your point very well.
Yeah.
I know our township has got, I don't know how many hundreds of hours plus time. We spent volunteers up there at least 4 or 5 times through the fields.
Oh, yeah.
We even had the kids go through there.
What they
Can you
perfected.
get that, get a bid on that?
we can try.
Yeah.
Can you help them, Mike, or
Sure.
you know all them
I'd be glad to.
people?
I mean, if you guys think you can get farther with the DNR, you can try, but.
I can ask them, I'll ask them, give me a call tomorrow, I'll call them, so give me a call, you got my phone number?
I'll get it.
Okay.
It isn't that I don't wanna help you, but I gotta think of the town guys and getting their work done for the winter too, you know.
Back to my question, Wayne, what would you do?
What would I do? I'd get somebody in there myself and get it piled up and then just tell the DNR, either you do it or I'll get it and we'll go to court about it.
And that's why we're not doing it, because the DNR has already told us 3 or 4 times that they're going to be doing it.
Even though they promised to clean it up, they said it's the town's problem, not theirs.
Can't they get a bid? I think they should get.
You know, yeah, I think
Mike,
that might be the best
Mike,
way,
help
and
them
then-
get a bid and see what it costs to scoop it up, clean it
So we
up,
can
get it out of there,
put
so we
it-
can see.
I
Do
put
it.
myself in their position.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I can
in
too.
response to Wayne's answer, I guess personally, if I was them, I wouldn't dig out my wallet to hire all this done, and then the end result is they're not get reimbursed or whatever. They're just digging themselves a big hole.
Did your,
We're already in a big hole.
can I ask you a question? Did your insurance company give you anything for cleanup? Most companies gave
They gave
cleanup.
us 5% purchase 4 dumpsters of our own, just sitting in our yard for cleanup.
Okay, can I ask what that amount was?
For debris cleanup?
Yes.
$2,000-3,000, isn't it?
Yeah, we spent about 3,000 so far. I mean, I think there's probably a little bit left, there's not much.
Okay.
As far as what the insurance would pay for.
You know, and I'm not trying to single you out or anything, but we gotta look at it, we gotta keep our town crews ready for winter. If we go in there and do it, I think it should be a bid and try to submit it. One way to do it is if you could get it piled up so you could sift it later, but is,
I guess, the way I look at it, the township is right in the middle. You got a civilian that lives in the township, and you got the DNR on the other side, and you guys are right in the middle. And I understand your total concern, because I know these guys work a zillion hours, and they're burning the candle at both ends right now, getting ready for winter and everything else. I guess,
and,
analyzing the whole circumstance, if we could get bids, submit them, mark,
Yeah.
and go from
Yeah,
there.
if I could get them like fairly quickly,
Yeah.
by the end of the week, and then that would actually, I'd be able to get with Dennis, cause I can talk to Dennis Brown with Chippewa County and talk to him about what happens in that kind of situation, because you know that happens. That's happened before, I mean, that's
Right.
not, you're not gonna be the first one nor the last one for it. And so how did they deal with that and getting that resolved, really? Because, you know, it's not really the township's responsibility, none of the cleanup was really the township's responsibility at all. We did, but I think we should, I'm not saying we shouldn't have done something, we most certainly should have. But, you know, so what we wanna make sure we do is get that covered, how we're going to get that covered.
Try to get it reimbursed.
And that may be, the best way may be to just get somebody to give us a price for it and see what what Haas wants, or No Mercy or
Right.
somebody.
Actually, the way I see it is if we can get estimates to you as soon as possible, but also on your part, if you could check with the county, because like you said, it's happened before. And if you can relay the results to Scott and Jody at the same time they present the bids,
Yeah,
because
that's what
they're
I'll
gonna
do.
move fast.
We'll do
We got
that.
2 weeks, the 23rd,
you don't even
Try
have
getting
that.
people out there, just.
You only got about 10 days.
right?
Actually, we'd like it by the 20th if we could get it, because to get it entered into the thing.
Yeah, we have to
If
have
we,
that
you know,
finally.
that way we got something to go by too, if we can get reimbursed.
Yeah.
But if they're worried about it, if they could possibly get it piled up too, you know, that's what I'm saying.
So bid, you guys are gonna get a hold of a bid?
Yep.
And I'll contact,
Yep.
Thanks, Mike, we appreciate you helping them out.
contact Dennis from, now I'll find out what they're
Let him
doing
talk.
with that kind of thing. Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Go ahead.
My name is Scott Schmidt. I live at 4815 County Highway N, Chippewa Falls. I'm asking for support of my business sign. I will answer questions at the end of my statement. I've been a plumber for 17 years. I started my own business in December of 2018. I'm here to ask you to support me with the Chippewa County Zoning Department to allow my sign to remain for my plumbing business. I've been contacted by Greg Gruna from the Chippewa County Zoning. His unofficial remedy is for me to talk to my neighbor across the street and put the sign there, as the town of Howard does not regulate signs. I have presented you with 8 examples of business signs in the town of Wheaton. It appears that no one is requiring them to be removed. I expect the same considerations. Number 1 is Home Oasis Pool and Spa. It's about an 18 square foot sign owned by Charles and Dora Wood. My understanding is he is on the Wheaton Plan Commission and is a Wheaton Parks Commission member. Number 2 is Pegankoff Sandy Acres sign, approximately 16 square feet. Number 3 is Custer's Wheaton grain sign, about 18 square feet. Number 4 is Hughes Riverbend Winery, about 20 square feet. Number 5 is a Blue Ribbon Ranch, Silk Flower City. Number 6 is the same, another Blue Ribbon Ranch in Silk Flower City. Number 7 is Badgerland Printing. And number 8 is Benson Implement. I've also presented you with the conversation I have had with Representative Rob Summerfield's office in support of my business sign, or in support of my business and sign. That's all I have.
So how big is your sign?
It's 32 square feet.
So what are they saying that it doesn't meet?
It needs to be less than 6 square feet, and it must be attached to my house or garage.
And so what did they say when you brought up the other signs?
He completely agreed and said that there's probably 50 or 70 of them. He said, but mine was called in. He said, and Greg, I mean, I deal with Greg on a regular basis. He's an inspector for me. He said, I'm completely in support of your business and your sign, but he said, it was put on Doug's office, or it was called into Doug, his boss, and Doug put it on his desk, and he said, I have to do something about it. He said, somebody called your sign in, they didn't call the other ones in.
I believe Doug's supposed to try to make it tonight, isn't he, to explain this? And I think there's been some changing in regulation on size and distances from what it used to be. Anything that was already there is existing as far as wood sign on Oasis. Somebody else turned that one in here 3 years ago, and Alice and I went up and measured it. And at that time, you were allowed 32 square feet of 4x8 sign, and it had to be the right-of-way of the road, which is 33 feet, plus 10 off of it, which theirs was, like I said, I think 18 or 20 feet. It isn't anywhere near what they could have been.
Mine is
And
well off.
And theirs is 55 feet, if I remember right, 56 feet off the center of the road. So that one was way legal. And anything that was existing, if they did change this, from what I understand, anything that was existing is grandfathered. Can I ask you a question? And this is just a personal question. Why did you face that sign the way you did, instead of turning it 90 degrees so you could see it from both directions?
Because it's not two-sided.
Okay.
It's
Because people don't even notice it there,
Well,
usually. I know, I talked to other
see it.
people.
I've had tons of comments. I would agree that the other way would be better, but I'm gonna start a business. I mean, the sign would have cost twice as much, and it's as simple as that.
So, I guess I'm not sure what the history of that sign ordinance, I don't remember that sign ordinance being changed from, in the past few years, to go to a
I think
smaller than.
there was something, Doug emailed us something, that, there was some changes to the sign regulations.
There's sign changes coming, and that's part of the meeting tonight, but that, yeah,
Yeah, there'll be a lot of amendments, a lot
Yeah.
of changes in the size.
I don't know if that's, I mean, I was at the planning commission meeting last weekend, and there was nobody really knew what the new changes were.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
And Doug
just-
was gonna try to make it tonight to explain whatever changes there is.
How far back is the sign?
It's about it's over 50 feet off the center line. And the conversation with Greg, he had no issue with road right away or, I mean, it's just strictly was larger than 6 square feet, and it was not attached to the house or the garage.
Is that what it's gotta be now for a
That's what
business?
he indicated, and that's the conversations he had with Summerfield.
Attached with what?
Didn't say, it said it had to be attached to the house or the garage.
So if you ran a wire and,
Well, that's, somebody brought that up too, but I'm sure that one,
That's only a 2x3 sign.
yeah.
That
I mean,
don't
it's,
seem
so
right.
it's a realtor's, like a little,
Something is wrong there.
well, that's,
Are you actually running your business out of your house?
yes.
Okay.
And in the zoning letter is in the back of that also, state with his, where he's pulling the code out of.
So you think that's 50 feet off the center of the road to the edge of your sign?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I looked at it and I
cut
didn't-
out of the woods. It was woods this summer where that
So are they
sign
just
is.
complaining that you didn't get a permit?
No, cause that was my first deal, and then even with talking to Summerfield, he goes, do you have a problem with paying the permit? I said, no, I would love to pay a permit fee. And Greg said it is absolutely impossible, it does not meet, he said you can pay it, but it will not pass.
Just the size. Yeah, those are the, yeah, those are the other ones, but nobody's complained about those.
Yeah, but those are all, they're not far enough and they're all undersized.
There are a lot more signs too, I just stopped at 8 with pictures and.
I don't know exactly where your business is, but is that zone commercial?
Zone agriculture.
Okay, that's why the design differences.
These other,
Yeah, that's one reason.
But most of those are also the same zoning.
Yeah.
Residential says you can go to 32 square feet.
He states it being that there's a home, an occupied home on the property, that it has to be 6 square feet and has to be attached to the house or building. Because there's an
In
occupied
an egg,
house.
in an egg.
Well, see, to me, that's confusing because I am agriculture, but he's pulling it out of residential, that's 6 square feet and attached to the, so I don't know
No,
wording well enough.
Can I ask you
No,
how much land you have?
it's,
5 acres.
no, it's, all residential districts. Area identification sign, one freestanding sign of not more than 32 square feet is permitted provided the sign is located not less than 15 feet from the property line or right-of-way line, nor shall it extend higher than 10 feet from grade level in all residential districts. But you're not in a residential district, you're in
I'm agriculture.
an A. So, what's that? I don't know.
Can we put this towards the end of the meeting? Hopefully
Well-
Doug show
well,
up, he
we
can
got-
explain this.
We can't go through and do anything with this right now, other than, let me.
We
let
can
me look at
investigate it.
this and talk to them, cause this is the first I've really heard about what is going on with this sign.
Did they tell you a certain date we had to have it down by?
November 8th.
And who were you talking to?
Greg Bruno. After discussion with him, because he knows that I'm trying to work on it, he has told me that he will give me some leniency on that November 8th date, which obviously they haven't come cut it down yet, but.
Well, yeah, they can't do anything about that. You know, you don't, it's still private property.
we don't have to follow Chippewa County zoning on that, we can have our own ordinance, correct?
Don't know how that
We
works.
don't follow all ordinances in Chippewa County, correct?
We can make them more strict, we can
Maybe
make.
make them less strict, too, right?
No.
Only more.
That's a good question, well,
No.
for that sign one especially, cause the sign one,
These other illegal signs were grandfathered in, I do not know where that, I haven't seen anything like that where they're grandfathered in, where you could have larger signs and they didn't have to be attached to a house or business. So, Mr. Miller said that was grandfathered in, do you have one somewhere that's grandfathered in?
I'm just taking it that as they were. I'm gonna check into it. And as far as,
So you just see that.
I know for a fact that with Woods down there, they got 2 separate lots.
but
One's business, one's residential.
But he named some more.
they're not zoned.
And that isn't, it's undersized and it's way off the road, Herb.
It's not, it's more than 16.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was 32 feet that it could be. We checked with the zoning office. Apparently you know more than I do, Herb, because I talked to him.
Because if they was 32 square feet, or if
Chuck
these
Wood has
others
a
are
special,
16, 18 square feet,
Chuck
Them are in
told
egg-
us the other
egg
night that he
areas.
has permission for his sign.
then I'm not sure
Whatever,
why.
but then when we called and
Don't know
checked
why
on it,
they
that's
were
what they told us
allowed.
it had to be.
The last sign issue I had was with the gas sign, and they were gonna make them take take that off of his building down there, Boo's. Bus, yeah, when he was gonna take that off, and he ordered him to take it off, and I told him at the time, I went down there and told him, don't remove it. Dare him to come on your property. It's still on there. So, I don't know,
Scott wants to say something.
yeah,
Are billboards coming under the same zoning ordinance? I mean, for the,
like,
because to me, it just seems incredibly unreasonable, Mr. Schmidt, to have this sign for business and have us have billboards sitting alongside that.
well, yeah, I guess there's a lot of issues about signs, you know, in the entire United States that people, you know, they believe Lady Bird back years ago and removed all the signs because they were so obnoxious, and now the courts are saying, depends on who you talk to, I guess, whether you think that sign's obnoxious or not. If it's your sign, you probably think it's pretty cool. And so who are we to say what sign? So I think that sign issue is as long as the sign is not, to me, as long as it's not distracting drivers, blocking in a visual triangle at an intersection, you know, or whatever, then I guess I'm not sure why you can't have a sign. I mean, as long as it's in good repair, it doesn't just look trashy and stuff, and this one obviously looks like it's a nice sign, so I have a problem with that to begin with, but I don't know exactly what, you know, and what your other signs, which are,
What the complaint was.
there's a bit smaller than these, but yeah, I don't know why, like River Bend, that's darn near that.
Yeah.
same
What was
sign.
the complaint?
Who was the complaint?
No, what was the
That it
complaint?
was an illegal sign. That's, I think, on the letter that Greg had sent me there. You have a copy of that. I think it just says illegal signing in agriculture
Well,
district.
this is from,
That's the one.
okay, that's, okay.
Yeah.
Counties and
Scott.
not allow qualified home occupation.
That, they have that in there, that you're not allowed any trailers with a sign on it, on your property either. So I think technically you couldn't have a job trailer in your driveway or a service truck in your driveway.
He says he can't have placed a new sign, he can't have the sign, he placed a new sign.
Yeah.
Not a sign.
I gotta do some research on that sign
Yeah.
stuff, I don't know.
I mean, my first, I got upset when I got that, and then when he told me to put it in, I mean, he was talking casually to me, he said, put it in Howard, well, why don't I just move the business to Howard? I mean, if Howard is pro-business and, but, I mean, I'm not.
We aren't against your business.
I know, and that's what I get from you guys, but that's the initial, it's like, if Chippewa County, and that's, in my letter to Rob Summerfield, I wrote that Chippewa County, it seems like that they're trying to hinder my business, and I mean, it's not Greg or Doug Cleary's, they're just following the rules that were set by the Chippewa County board, or whoever writes their sign laws.
Do you know who did complain?
No, they would not tell me.
Stuff like.
My 5 minutes were up.
But,
No, that's fine.
go ahead.
Will you give us some time to look into this?
Yeah, well, I'm not
Further?
taking the sign, I mean,
Hopefully Doug will come here tonight and maybe he can put some light on the situation.
On November 21st, there is a public hearing at the courthouse regarding signs. And so that would, I mean, we think people should look over the proposed draft, and
Yeah,
if there's issues for or against or whatever, that would be an opportunity to dispute that, because it would go eventually before the entire county board.
There you go.
right, and
We'll
that's
do
what,
that too.
when we did that sign down there with on the gas, you know, we went before the board like 3 times. I went over there and argued, and they finally went, yeah, this is ridiculous. Of course, that sign isn't the problem, and the Board of Adjustments or whoever, well, the board finally ruled that it was fine to keep it, so,
Do you have the power just to say that my sign is fine?
no,
No.
we can't do that. I mean, it still has to go through the Chippewa County zoning, but, you know, they haven't, they kinda, depending on what everybody else says that's in zoning, but the other people in zoning are not, they're not Dennis Firstnow and them guys, they don't like these regulations all that well. I mean, yeah, some of it is probably good, you know. The problem with not zoning is people can come in and do anything they want, then that we definitely don't want. And so that's the big issue with not having any zoning, but you know, Chippewa County zoning, if you come up with, have issues, you go over there and we'll go through a little bit of the process with it. It usually gets straightened out. They don't, I guess, it might take a while, it might take a few months, it might take 6 months, I don't know, but they've been responsive to it, so.
I asked Greg about, because I don't know just how it works. I said, can I get a variance? And he said, well, Scott, you're gonna be wasting $650. He said, no matter what, you need to pay $650 just for the application of a variance. And he says they don't give variances. Or
Yeah.
very, very seldom will they actually give a
Yeah,
variance.
it's gotta be, you gotta prove a hardship of some sort, which you're not gonna be able to on something like this, so. And that's actually that's a state standard that they have, that if you start not doing that you can get into some really big legal troubles. So that is why they don't give them. But they also have people on the board, and Carolyn knows all of the people on that board at this point, don't you, Carolyn? I don't know everybody there, but.
I'm just saying that's part of the process, you know, that.
But yeah, you know, so you can still talk to these, you know, these people are, I mean, I don't think that people are unreasonable. For the most part, you can, you know, go and talk some reason to, you know, what the reasons are for it, and get them to agree and make alterations to the regulations. I mean, we've done that a few times, so we just gotta have some time to do it. There just isn't, you know, it's gonna take a little bit, so. Other than that, your 5 minutes is up.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah.
It is a nice looking sign.
You got all that? You guys saw all this? So, in case you.
Yeah, I went up there and looked at it.
Anything else? Yeah.
I'll try to keep it 5 minutes.
Fine.
Adam Blaskowski, 2830 36th Avenue. Apparently, by the documents I have in front of me, I'm the former chief of the Wheaton Fire Station. On 10/22 of 19, I presented a document to the Fire Commission and the Fire Board calling out the fire chief for his lack of commitment to the Wheaton Fire Department and his response to the tornado itself. So that was given to the board and the Fire Commission. On November 1st, I received a certified letter from the chief through the mail, putting me on an administrative leave pending an investigation for an unknown amount of time. He never told me what it was for, what it was about, or how long it was going to take, anything about it. Since there's no information on it, it's basically, it was an illegal order, so there was no reason to follow it whatsoever. On November 5th, I filed charges against the chief for multiple reasons for his conduct and the way he's been acting and the way he's been treating the members out at Station 2. Last night at the Station 2 fire meeting of the members of the Station 2, they provided me with the minutes of that meeting, And during that meeting, they held a vote of no confidence in Chief Scott Burnett based upon a large list of criteria. It was a unanimous roll call vote that they have absolutely no confidence in him based on all that information, which included his responses to Wheaton calls in there, discouraging volunteer efforts, missing meetings and trainings, requiring volunteers to perform at higher levels than he himself does, and poorly representing the fire department to the public and surrounding fire departments. There's a list of items there. One of the other ones, he's failing to provide equipment. The ambulance was taken out of Station 2 on Friday. They say due to mechanical issues that we are unaware of, that nobody knew what had happened. But they took it out and they have not replaced it. So at this point, they've already previously taken the ambulance out of Howard, now they've taken the ambulance out of Wheaton. So there are 3 ambulances in Halley and I believe 2 in Lafayette, 1 or 2 in Lafayette. So if anybody needs an ambulance, plan on delayed responses because they're not putting one back out here for the first responders to use. So just so everybody's aware of that. As of today, it still was not back at the station. After the first letter from the fire chief putting me on the supposed administrative leave, which again was a violation of all the policies and everything of the district, of the procedures that he needs to take to even do such a thing. We had a rollover crash out here on County X, to which I responded. The gentleman was trapped in the vehicle. I responded. I was the first one on scene. I did take the engine out of the station, extricated the gentleman out, and we performed life-saving measures on him and got him transported to the hospital. Today, the sheriff showed up at my house with a letter terminating me as a volunteer, pending a legal trial that I can take to the fire commission. I can hire an attorney to fight this, basically. So at this point, Wheaton has no leadership. I would ask the volunteer firemen to continue to respond to help the people in the town of Wheaton. I mean, that's what we're all here for. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've been fighting for the volunteers. Our station has continued to grow and get more and more volunteers all the time. We had a new guy had apparently showed up last night at the meeting and applied. It's a good group in Wheaton right now, but this is what we continue to fight, and I don't know that I can fight it any longer. So I asked the town board for support in this. I don't know what can be done about it exactly. I would ask that all the town residents come to the next fire board meeting it will be next Tuesday.
Yep,
In Howard.
in Howard. It's up on
It'll be
County
at
Trunk
7
B.
o'clock in Howard.
7 o'clock?
Yep,
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock in Howard. There's a public comment at that meeting if you would like to say anything to them to find out what the hell is going on, because I'd sure like to know. But at this point, I've turned all my stuff in. It's at the fire station. I will not be responding, and all I can do is ask for the town's support.
they have to provide, first of all, I think we're gonna have to get a lawyer after what happened at our meeting. They say that was, I conveniently got left out of a letter for a meeting that we had in what regards it was to it, and it was the same day he wrote the letter for putting you on suspension. So he must have been busy that morning with little revengeance, because I made a comment about him not responding out here for the tornado. And I did it at the fire commission, and I did it on our fire board. I sit on the fire board, and I did it there also. And he's just trying to get back, is basically what it looks like. And I think we're gonna have to probably get some legal action
That's
going,
under
Mark.
business, isn't it? We can discuss that too, can't we? Other items ready to discuss, be discussed,
And just so everybody knows, he's probably only responded to
can't we?
1 or 2 calls in the town of Wheaton or Howard since he's been here for however long he's been here.
6 years.
6, 8 years.
6 years at least.
6 years or better. He's only responded to 1 or 2 calls out here in all that time.
I mean, can they come out and take trucks and everything else, or?
Well, according to
I guess
MOU,
I
they
couldn't
can't.
figure out
According to
how
them,
he could just stick that in place. He's removing it
He
from.
can't. According to the MOU, he can't.
Right.
so.
They claim they're servicing it
I
right
want the
now.
township to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons that the town board has voted to get out of the fire district.
That's
And
right.
Since that vote, it has been getting worse and worse and worse. I get 5 to 6 emails a day I would get from him demanding me to do stuff. I have a full-time job, more than a full-time
Karen
job.
says
I
we
run
can
my own
discuss,
business.
we can discuss a
And,
lawyer
it's
here.
completely
Mhm.
ridiculous. I've been dealing with the tornado. I was up at the fire station for 2 weeks, organizing and working with everybody, trying to get things taken care of. Your property is one of the ones that would have been talked about last night at the meeting to see if we could get the firemen to come and help clean up your property. Didn't happen because I'm fighting this. It's nonstop and it's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody's lives are being put in jeopardy, by the delayed response of an ambulance at this point.
There's
And
one,
the lack of leadership at all.
I see one set of papers here now that the fire board is going to be voting, just so everybody knows, so you can go and complain, or you can go and sit there and listen to them and see what they're doing, but they are going to be voting because they are in financial trouble. That's one of the reasons that we were getting out of there, is because of the financial trouble that they have and that they couldn't solve. They're in financial trouble. The way they're going to solve that is they're going to start charging everybody for every call $500 plus the cost of the call. So if you have a fire, you're going to get a bill for $500 plus whatever they want to charge you for equipment. That's what their documents say anyway. What I saw, I just got them this afternoon.
I got a copy of it.
That's what is being talked about. So they're going, instead of putting it on a tax roll, what they were doing is borrowing money. They were taking out loans to cover it. Now instead, because they are done with, that didn't cut the, I don't know, taking out a loan for some reason didn't cut their costs. I can't imagine why. And then so now, instead of doing that, instead of cutting costs again, which is what they really have to do, what they're going to do is raise the cost to the people who use that service, though that service is being paid for by the taxpayers. So if you have to use that service now, they want to charge you again. Not only are you paying for it in the taxes, but you're going to pay for it again. If you have a car crash, if you have,
There's a copy of
let's
it, Mark.
see,
I just got
vehicle
that
fire,
today or
rubbish
yesterday.
fire, motor vehicle accident, controlled burn, spills and leaks, no fire, with rescue including dive team, natural disasters, adult family home inspections. They're raising the rates to do inspections, work permit, fire sprinkler, fire alarm system. So they're gonna charge people for permits to install sprinkler systems. Good luck with that.
Tell them what the cost is.
Man, these costs are $500 in cost of suppression, mitigation, wages. $500 cost of suppression, mitigation, wages. That's for all these different fires. So it's a $500 fee plus whatever it costs, or whatever they say it costs. And what's interesting is, I asked him years ago, how much does it cost to have an ambulance run? How much does it cost to do these things? They've never, ever answered me.
That's right.
Okay, so you don't know how much it costs. So now how are they gonna do this? They can't tell me how much it costs because they don't know. But then they're gonna raise, instead of cutting the costs, they're cutting where they could have. And so that everybody knows, 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I told them they were gonna be losing money. They did. They told me I didn't know what I was talking about. They lost money. 2 years ago, I told them, last year, they said, well, I said, you're going to be losing a bunch of money again. You gotta do something about this. You gotta balance the budget. And they said, well, Well, you don't know what you're talking about. We don't know that. Well, I do, because that's the history. And so I gave them, and so then I took the budget and I went through it line by line, adjusted the budget so that it was a balanced budget with what would be a reasonable amount of income that they could reasonably expect. And it was a balanced budget. Mr. Staber, president of the, chairman of the board, of the fire board, took it and looked at it and said, I don't even know what this is, and threw it away. We're not even looking at that. That's what I got. They've been doing this for years now. And this is what's staying in it, this is what we'd be facing for years to come too. This is exactly, every day they do another thing that just assures me that the decision was absolutely the right decision, because the costs are going way up. They are going to go way up for the fire district.
So, I just wanna say too, the day it snowed the other morning and all the crashes were, that was also, that afternoon is when we had the fatality in the rollover over here. I was at home working on my own buildings, trying to get them back together before winter from the tornado. And the call went out, I was not gonna go, and I get texts from 3 or 4 of my firemen, the ones that I would expect to respond during the day, and they were all in Eau Claire. Hey, I can respond from Eau Claire, but it's gonna be delayed. When I hear the call that someone is trapped in a vehicle, I'm not waiting for someone to come from Eau Claire to our station to get a truck. So that is why I responded that day. So the letter I got today, that the sheriff served on me, is, the long and short of it is, I'm being terminated for responding. Because he had told me I couldn't respond in a previous letter, which, again, was, I feel is illegal, so.
Does the Samaritan Act cover you in that situation?
No, because I took the fire truck. If I went in my own car to the scene and taken care of it, I could. Probably got by with it, but because I responded to a fire truck, because somebody is trapped, we may probably need the extrication and the tools and the equipment. And so now in his letter, he's listing all the people that were on scene, but he doesn't bother mentioning that they got there 5 to 10 minutes after I had already been there. So if people want to wait that amount of time, go ahead. Here's the rules that the state requires the fire department to follow. I think it's 8 pages. Here's what the fire district requires us to follow. As a volunteer, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. They're available online. There's 5 of them that didn't even print, so there's 5 more multiple page documents. This is what they're trying to make us follow, and he is not following himself. The day of that crash, we also have an online app for the whole fire district that you can put on there if you're available and responding and all this good stuff. His name was on there that day. It said he was at home, unavailable, all day.
And it was a fatality.
With a fatality crash. Did not respond to the tornado. He does not come to fires. And kicking me off for responding to calls. So
What was his consensus when he was confronted on why he didn't come out to Wheaton because of the tornado?
he was on vacation.
At home.
At home on vacation.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And these personnel issues and the budgetary concerns, all of this information, we had, my name's Scott Morris, I served on the ad hoc committee for the fire. We had 8 marathon meetings, they're all open to the public. And all of these issues were discussed in extreme detail. And that, in and of itself, was the reason that we voted unanimously to form our own fire department. And we can't summarize all the information with 8 meetings. It's impossible to summarize all that information. It was all over the public. But it's just, this is just one issue, but it's tens of 20 issues.
Adam responded to that problem, and that was good, but he also said that in the future, if we would have to wait for people from Eau Claire, that would delay it. That's what our future is, we're going to be depending on Eau Claire to come.
And they would have been there.
it's less time.
No,
I'm just saying.
no,
Less
the
time.
difference is the people responding Claire ambulance is responding, which is what Wheaton's gonna be doing. They are responding with an ambulance from our station. Our members are responding from Eau Claire, which they were on the east side, Pinehurst, one was on the south side. They have to respond to the Wheaton station, get the trucks, and then respond. So there's a big difference there. So that's, I know what you're saying, I just, to be clear about it, that's, someone driving in a personal car stopping at all the red lights, the big difference from someone responding with an ambulance, lights and siren. But so I'm at a loss, I don't. Something needs to be done to stop them, otherwise there won't be fire service for me for the next year, at least. And we walk away from it.
I think I can speak for this board. We will do everything in our power to back you. Because he is wrong, and I'll explain some more when I give my fire report.
Okay, so, anything else? Okay, treasurer's report. Got everything, let's see here. We still got, so what do we have coming in yet? We still got 200 and some thousand check, 280 or something coming in?
Yes.
So this 740 right now is going to end up with, we're gonna have 200 and, do you have the, where's your, all I got is the expenses. I don't have the income part of that. Okay, so on this here, we've got this is, we should have, at, what was our total that we have, we're gonna have at the end of the year, Scott, where's that?
I'm just looking for spots where we've got money yet to receive. Let's see.
So this
Oh,
is-
the 334 there.
Well, we should have a, because what I'm just looking for is our total that we're gonna have at the end of the year, is what I'm looking at for. So we've got it like a 287 or something is what we got coming in yet, 287,000. And that 40,000, that's in there already, 40-some thousand it was for, we had a share, road aids or something that came in?
I posted everything that we've received.
Okay, so that's in that 740.
Yeah.
Okay, so we still got the 287, so we'll have $1 million.
You got, the end of the month balance will be the 682.
And we've got additional funds coming in.
Right, but he's starting with this number.
Well, we've got you got a number here of 745.18. Right at on that bottom line, the totals for and all the way over to the right.
Oh, the 757?
740.518 on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
740,518 is total funds available less any outstanding checks.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we have, and then we've got another 287 coming. So we got 12, 1, 10. So 7, 500.
Minus
$1,027,500 minus what our expenses for December.
Yeah, we haven't paid any paving as of yet. So anything to Monarch for 30th Avenue and 72nd and
So
67th.
what were we saying was going to be in this budget though? What was what I'm asking, Scott?
I don't remember that figure.
You guys remember what that was? You remember, Tom? There was $1 million. I'm gonna have to look at that, let's move on, I don't wanna get tied up in that right now. I just wanna verify, it sounds like it's right, we might be up a little bit, we might actually have a little bit more than what we figured, right, at the end of the year, it sounds like we're gonna have a little bit more than what we were figuring the other day. I think we figured it kinda conservatively the other day, you know, at the budget planning. So, I think we're okay, it looks like to me that we are okay on this, so. All right, any comments or anything? File this with the clerk, fire board report. Let me check this. Fire
Fire
board.
board report.
Oh. Okay. Back in September, well, first, yeah, I might as well start there. Back in September, we had voted on combining the budgets. They wanted to combine the budgets instead of keeping them separate. They said it all comes out of the same checkbook. Well, the reason they wanted to do that is because they floated $32,000 over into the EMS last year because they wanted a piece of equipment and they had already spent their money, but the fire part was over 70-some thousand. Now that 70-some thousand should either went to pay off equipment or reduce the amount of charge this year. And I don't see any payback, and I've been screaming about that, and we still haven't got anywhere there. They just, well, it comes out of the same budget. Well, a month later, they turned around in October, and we voted on this again to combine the budgets. And I brought it up, well, we voted on that last month. Well, we got a different budget. Well, they cut $40,000 out of that budget in 1 month's time, which was pretty nice. Well, they got their way, they got it passed because 3 of them railroaded it through. And the 3 of them being Lafayette, Halley, and Village of Halley. So they got that through, and then we got to our in October meeting too, they came in and they wanted to change the loans. They said it's shortening up the loans, and they had a PowerPoint presentation, but they went through it quick and they didn't have a handout for us to look at or any other thing, and they said, we got to vote on this now. So they railroaded that through. And I just told them, Wheaton is not going to be responsible if there's any changes in the amounts. So after that, the next piece of equipment, they decided they wanted to buy 2 brand new pieces of equipment, two new fire trucks. They're going to get rid of 3 that they have existing right now and get rid of 2, or buy 2, get rid of 3. And they didn't have no specs or anything else, but they had to vote on it, and because they had to have their answer to them within a week or a few days on this. And I said, no, we should table this and talk about this. This isn't, we don't know anything about these trucks. Oh, but we got her, we'll lose the price. And I says, well, they aren't gonna lose the price on that. All you gotta do is threaten to go someplace else, they're gonna keep that price there. Well, what it amounted to, they got that railroaded through too. Didn't see no, I asked them right out, I said, when did you start working on this? Well, back in June. It was the first time we heard about it on the board. I've been on the board since last May or April. It was the first time I heard about it. I made every meeting. No specs for the trucks. We don't know what they're buying, and they're voting to go ahead and order them. This is the kind of bullshit they pull, and it's a non-stop. So, and I asked for that PowerPoint presentation. We had a special meeting set up for November 6th last week for the town board, Wheaton Town Board, and the fire board to meet to decide how we possibly are going to settle this out, our share, our interest in this. Well, apparently they contacted the lawyer and they had the 2 questions, and the 2 questions were One was what Wheaton's duties were on these loans, and the other one was how to settle this. Basic lawyer says, well, I won't do anything until towards the end of 2020. So this meeting lasted a total of 4 minutes. 4 minutes. And it was railroaded through. They said, well, seeing such what the lawyer, he says, I don't think we need to discuss this until the end of 2020. Well, where in the hell are we sitting? They're trying to screw us. What they're trying to do from the standpoint is they're trying to screw us from buying trucks or have to buy the trucks from them at their price. It ain't gonna happen. I'll tell you that right now. And, of course, I was conveniently forgotten to be sent the letter about this stuff, concerned, before the meeting. Our whole town board showed up, except for Bud, he was out of town. And anybody can verify what I'm saying, if you wanna ask them, if I'm lying or not, which I'm not. So that was the end of that. Am I telling the truth on that?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. And,
Not to mention,
they didn't let us even speak. It was when Staber got done giving his little spiel, he says, do I have a motion for adjournment? And somebody else, yep. They voted on it, adjourned. They got it down, it was unanimous. I didn't vote for it, so it wasn't a unanimous vote. And I will be having those minutes changed. But that's the kind of BS that, and I told him I was very disappointed in the chief and his dealings. I did praise Mark Rochelle, the EMS chief, for him coming out and stuff. And I said I was really disappointed in the main chief. So he kind of is retaliating against Adam and I. I didn't conveniently get it. The guy's supposed to send me the PowerPoint. Says, well, I tried sending you something, he says, and it didn't go through. Well, I've been getting every other email. He said, well, it kicked back to me. Well, apparently he didn't know how to enter it. So, but this is the kind of games they play. And there's even more than this, folks, but I'm gonna quit at that.
So next meeting is
Next
Tuesday.
Tuesday. And I
7
hope,
o'clock.
I hope the people of this township goes and supports Adam. Because this shit's gotta stop, because if we let it go by with him, he'll clean our station out before he's done. Adam, we own that fire station. You are welcome there anytime. You can go in there anytime you feel like it. Am I right, folks? All in favor? Aye. We can solve that damn problem too. He can't tell us what to do on our property. So that's about it. If anybody got any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
couple things, Wayne. Can we request that any future meetings, since they had all of us drive over there for 4 minutes,
They're gonna be here.
Yep. at the
that they
town
can,
hall.
they will be here
will be
in
here.
Wheaton, and we will record it, and it will be going on the website so that the
Right.
the residents of this township can see
Exactly what we're
is
dealing
being
with.
dealt with.
Yeah. Town of
And
Wheaton Town Hall.
We
What
could even record the one on the 19th. Take a recorder of the video in there and put it on our website.
Sure.
Oh, we
And they
could.
start raising they're not raising your taxes, they're just gonna charge you for it. If you call, they're gonna charge you. It's the same thing as raising taxes. It's no difference. Have some guts and at least say, we're gonna raise your taxes if you're gonna do that.
And when they vote on this, they'll railroad this thing through too.
If I need to raise the taxes, I'll just tell you, I gotta raise the taxes, and if you guys say no, I'll say, well, then you're not getting whatever it is that I needed to raise the taxes for. It doesn't matter to me. You know, it's one or the other, but this is a end around, there's no doubt about it.
I've requested the last,
You gonna start charging us to plow our roads?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
especially in front of your driveway.
If everybody does just a little section, we might get done before the next snowfall, right?
I have requested, something else I'm gonna ask, I have requested the yearly audits for the past 10 years. I have the last one. Being different people have been on there, they haven't, I'm gonna have to have Scott look again and make sure that some of them aren't here, and I've requested them, that's public records. And Stabers says, well, you got them. Well, I'm gonna request it in writing one more time. And then
Go to court.
we'll go to court. It's that simple. They don't wanna provide us them.
They can't withhold them.
They can't withhold those
Go ahead, Mike.
records.
Like,
I don't understand, you know, I mean, if I was a member of the Howard Fire Department and somebody else was a member of the Lafayette, Fire Department and a fire broke out, could I legally go into the Wheaton Fire Department and grab a truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, because all their keys pass,
They
don't
should
they
be able
work?
to do that. And actually, I've done that. I've gone to other
Chief
states.
program them right, they should.
Yeah.
I guess my question was, if it wasn't allowed for me to hop into a truck that I'm not familiar with in the town of Wheaton, why don't we change the locks then? But I suppose you can.
We were,
No,
They will be changed at the end of 2020. They will be changed the
they'll
end
be
of
different
2020.
on 1/1/21.
well, the thing is, they can only get in with the card now, anyway. They don't have keys to get into our station. So that there is, we only have, but it's an electric strike, so it's a card reader. And so they can get in, and I can get into the other
And-
station.
The other station numbers are signed off on our trucks per the chief's SOP, so if that were to happen, everyone else would be in violation.
Yeah, they can't, which is just amazing to me. It's just amazing to me that would be, that it isn't, I have access to the trucks so I could go drive the tender from Station 3.
I don't know.
And I drove, it's the exact same tender as we had in Station 2. But right now, I couldn't do that because the SOP says I haven't been signed off for that truck over in Station 3. Even though it's the exact same truck, it's set up exactly the same, with the same transmission, everything about it is exactly the same. It's just, and besides that, the solution to that is to have training between all the stations, which they quit doing 5 or 6 years ago. When I was a training officer, I made sure we were doing that all the time. Brian is a training officer, and he tried to get them to do that, and they won't. They wouldn't come and train. They wouldn't come to Wheaton to train. They won't go to Howard to train. Now, Howard is the one that's getting really the short end of the stick in all of this, but we're going to be okay. We've got stuff set up where we're going to be all right, and it's actually going to cost us less. We're going to actually be paying less. I'm confident. First couple of years, we might not be paying less. We might be paying a little bit more, and I don't know that
About
we'll
the
be
same.
paying more.
I don't think
We're
we
just
should.
we're going to have some loans out is what we're going to have to
Yeah.
do, but we're not going to pay more money.
Yeah.
It's not going to raise the tax. It's going to just be. We're just not going to have the equity for a few years. But after that, we'll have equity. Their solution to solving a budget crisis is to sell trucks, older trucks that they're going to get tens of thousands of dollars maybe at all of them, and they're going to buy 2 brand new trucks at $250,000 a piece. So they're going to spend $500,000 and get $50,000 in sales. So they're going to be short $450,000, and somehow that's saving money.
It's the new math.
It's the new math.
Yeah, you're damn right.
Good one.
I don't know. I guess I just don't even understand it. I feel sorry for Howard because they're a small township and don't have a big tax base, and so they're kind of stuck. I keep saying, we're gonna go help them. I mean, if they need help, we're gonna help them, because we do that. That's what we're doing, and I think we need to make sure that they know we're still gonna come and help them, and we're not gonna let them just fall off the face of the earth because Lafayette and Halley, and it's not even really so much the village, I don't think, as much as Lafayette, just as Dave's been pushing this and pushing it and pushing it. It's just like, why? I don't even understand why. I've got theories, they'll remain mine, but my theories, but it's caused a real big problem at this point, so.
Just to make everybody aware, this year, our share was what, 63 or 64,000 for just EMS alone for the township of Wheaton, and then the fire was 138,000 over and above that we paid into the district to belong to it. The township of, or the village of Elk Mound operates their fire department on a budget of $75,000 a year, folks.
And they got 4,800 people in a bigger area, and Interstate 94.
And that includes their building maintenance.
And that includes their building maintenance, and our building maintenance is in our budget, $12 or $15,000. That's in another line item, not in the fire department, because that's our building.
And the
What-
chief's
so-
salary, and the chief's
What we're
salary too.
proposing to do is, just to make everybody aware of this, so we're open about it, is we're still gonna set that amount that we're paying right now aside for at least 5 years. And that they'll get their operating cost, and whatever is left, we're gonna take and put towards the loans to pay them off. So,
Anyway, we're gonna move on here. We're gonna be here forever.
Okay.
Planning Commission.
Yeah.
sorry.
The Wheaton Planning Commission met on November 5th, 2019. Everyone was present except Mike McGinley was absent. I reported that Kim Haas had not contacted me about her concept of her 5-lot plot on 30th Street. New business was to create a form for attendees who come before the Wheaton Planning Commission. Mr. Morris is working on it. There'll be a form that we'll use when citizens come in here and they'll give us a request. It's suggested that Wheaton will use something similar to Chippewa County Department of Zoning and Planning. Then the form would then provide historical document of the Wheaton Planning Commission's decisions on each request brought before them. But that other people, like informal requests, can also come before the Wheaton Planning Commission. We discussed Doug Clary's proposed sign regulation amendment. We reviewed the materials, and we did have a few things that we wanted clarified, and Doug was going to hope to make it tonight's meeting, but there was also a Chippewa County Board meeting he was attending, so he wasn't sure if he could be here. Herb Steinmetz and Scott Schmidt were in attendance and brought up the issue that Schmidt is having a problem with the sign he erected on his property. And he planned to come tonight before the Wheaton Town Board. We also, under old business, discussed the draft 6 town ordinances, renumbering them, and we think that we're going to just stay in a numbered manner in which it's similar to what now is on the town's website. And Patrick Belfast was there from Cedar Corp. They received at that time 485 surveys of 1,145 that were mailed out and they were returned. That's a 42% response, which is excellent according to UW River Falls. The goal was to receive 288 responses. So a motion was made by Piercy and Wood that the facilitator accept for analysis all of the surveys that are received by 11/8/19. Then we set the agenda for the next meeting, and the next meeting of the Wheaton Planning Commission is December 3rd, 2019.
Okay, any comments? Town parks.
Let's see. For us, we continued our discussion on park expansion trail names. So we discussed a couple different names. Reaching out to the Chippewa Historical Society to see if they've got some historical information on Wheaton. Right now, we would like to come up with about 10 names, 8 to 10 names. That way, as we add additional trails, whatnot, we kind of already have those picked out. Park winterizing, so we're all set, ready to go for the snow flying. And then, as far as park improvements, the chain link fence for the tennis court, we got the posts are all in. We're shooting to hopefully before the 18th, when we're ready to get going with the ice skating rink. He's hoping to be done with that. So
Could've had about 10 inches of ice on there if we'd have been.
Yeah.
talking it out.
So but he does have all the posts in, so that was a big part before the ground froze. So, and then park trails. So we still have about a third of the way to go with the wood chips. We're just working on trying to get enough volunteers together to come up with another wood chip operation.
So 2/3 of it's done?
Yeah, 2/3 of it's done. We figure probably if we get enough volunteers, we might be done in a day, but if it's what we've had, it'll probably
Can we-
take another 2.
Can we just drive and run up there and put them on with the stumps in there and? all that stuff?
The trails, so what we have left, the only one, the only trail that I think just had to be mowed out a little bit more was the one right off of the parking lot. But the one that the snowmobile club runs on, that's all done. It's just the wood chips just have to be laid down on it. So
Okay.
but now that the ground's freezing, it's it's a lot better.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should get
so-
that, try to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
if we can.
So I mean,
We gotta get rid of them chips anyways, so.
yeah, so we're at least, a good portion done, so. And then I forgot to mention, all Met Parks Commission members were there with the exception of Lynette Mazinski and Chad Craigness, so. Our next meeting, is coming up next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, so we'll be in Wheaton, so.
Okay. Any website updates, changes, or additions board would like to have? You guys have any?
Well, I'm coming up here on the old business, updates on the protection of groundwater. Want to bring that up, there is an addition to the website. It's called Wisconsin Well Water Quality Interactive Viewer. And Ken put it under our, here it is.
I'll go back to.
Oh, that's on our website now. When you go to this link, it says Wisconsin Well Water Quality Interactive Viewer. There's 25 years of information on there. It's really easy to use, because I can use it. Yep, you just click on there, it comes up, and then you can find where we are here in the town of Wheaton, and you just hit OK. Have you tried this at all, Ken?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. You go and you find where it is, and then you can find here, it tells all about the groundwater here, and then it'll tell you about where the different nitrate levels and different things are here in the town of Wheaton. There's 25 years of information on this interactive viewer.
Okay, the Wisconsin Towns Association gave a presentation
Yeah.
and he was talking more about the stuff over by the lake,
Yeah.
by Lake Michigan, and then some of the stuff in southwest Wisconsin. But, he kind of didn't really, but that's his job, he was supposed to take care of the stuff over in Kewaunee and Door County and stuff. And then some of the stuff in southwest Wisconsin, that area, because they're having way more trouble than we're having.
Right.
It's a lot more serious issues with their groundwater than we have, but we have them too. So that's where, I mean, this is all from the UW Stevens Point, right?
That's correct. But
So-
it's really good in that it has 25 years of information.
So,
Mark's right, we were at the Wisconsin Towns Association, and there were 2 presentations that I think the 3 of us managed to go to. One was Groundwater, Wisconsin's Buried Treasure. And just so everybody knows that since 2014, the state requires that if you have anything done with your well or pump, or if you have any kind of a well inspection or put in a new well, they do now check for bacteria and nitrates and arsenic. And one thing we did learn when we were there was that land use is very important, about how it affects the private wells. And you've heard on the news how they said, Roundup could cause cancer. During this study, they found that Roundup was not found in the testing of any groundwater. So that was kind of interesting, but that was the southern part of Wisconsin.
yeah,
So, and he also, under groundwater sanitary quality in Wisconsin, he said that if there's nitrates in your well greater than 2, it's probably coming from septic systems, fertilizer, or manure. But again, it's if it's over 10 that there's a concern, and it's a concern for elderly people and for children and for babies and pregnant women.
We moved on, didn't we? So, the
Sorry.
website was done.
Yeah, well, I moved on to
Oh,
old business.
that's good.
Get going.
No, that's okay. We, because this groundwater thing is really, really interesting, and the
Yeah.
guy that did this, one of the guys that did one of the seminars was, this guy knows his stuff. He and, you know, he said that he goes out to Kewanee and all that, the areas out there, and there's a big fight between the people in the subdivisions that are complaining that it's the CAFOs that are causing all this nitrates, and the CAFOs are saying, well, it's all in private sewers, and so they get it together, and then they checked, and they got, after all this research, there really isn't any difference. It's pretty much half of it is from the farms, and half of it's from the people. So they're pointing their fingers at each other, and I always tell people, when you point your finger at somebody, there's 3 of them pointing back at you. So, them people are, and he said that it hasn't made them friends, but at least they haven't been taking each other's heads off at the meetings lately. That once he explained it to them that, you know what, this is an issue that everybody has to have, everybody's got a stake in it. Everybody causes the problem, not just the farmers, it's not just the developments, it's everybody. So the guy was really good. He really knew what he was doing, and he was really particular and about how he presented everything. And when his computer quit working there at one point, he didn't know what to do, because he had this all set up so nice but it was really good. So this here is an issue that we're gonna keep on this, and we'll keep it on the website, and people, anybody
We'll
have
keep adding
information?
to it.
Yeah, we'll keep adding to this,
The
because
website.
it's an important issue that everybody needs to know about. You need to know, at least have knowledge about it, so you know how to react when you start hearing reports and stories and things.
Okay. Firewood.
Firewood, review, discuss, act on revisions to firewood policy for the township.
Yep, so I put in the changes we had from our last meeting.
Okay. Need a motion. We went through all of it, so.
Yeah, we did
Need a
last time.
motion to
Oh,
approve it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the revisions to the firewood policy.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the revisions to the firewood policy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Review, discuss, act on approval of the town of Wheaton 2020 budget.
Can we just, what are we gonna do with them chips here before we get into the budget? Are we gonna, people gonna take them, or are we gonna try to sell them?
And we aren't gonna sell them. It's gonna cost us $20,000 to get rid of them.
Oh, okay.
So anybody wants them, they can have them. Take as many as you want.
Except for a third of the pile. To the
No, we
park.
don't need a third of the pile. Okay.
Wheaton 2020 budget.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So we've got if everybody's happy with the budget now and, levy and everything, need a motion to approve
I make a motion to approve
Now,
it.
we'll approve are these line items, the total lines, right, Scott?
Yes.
We're approving like line 6 or whatever, and we're not approving every individual line, we're approving the total line.
Total lines.
It's
yeah.
category total.
The category, there you go. I couldn't think of the word, thank you. The category totals are being approved.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the category lines for the 2020 budget. Roll call vote.
Bud Beckwith, Wayne Miller,
Yes.
Al Ostrowski,
Aye.
Ken Books,
Aye.
Mark Laskowski.
Aye. Motion carried. Review, discuss, an organization of fire department panel for development of Wheaton Volunteer Fire Department, list of duties and descriptions of the panel, and set timeframes to meet and get, now, I don't know that we can get all this done tonight. Mark Bruner called me tonight and said he couldn't make it, but he's willing to help out, with equipment, purchases, giving his opinion. He's a really good guy with equipment. See, you know, so he said he doesn't really wanna be on a committee that he has to meet a whole bunch. He just doesn't have the time, but he would be happy to help out. We'll have to have somebody from the fire department, one of the firefighters on that committee to pick, you know, what kind of equipment we want, but we gotta start looking for equipment and figure out what we wanna do. That there is gonna just happen however that happens. We need to, biggest thing I would like to see us get done is get some time frames here.
I've talked, we're gonna do a board, right? I got,
You're gonna do a fire commission.
fire commission, and I've talked with Scott Morris, and, he showed interest in being on there, he'd like to be on there. Eugene Gutsch would like to be on that. He was gonna try to make it tonight, I don't think he did, no. So, and those two, I think, are, two good choices, I mean, with their backgrounds, with budgeting and projects to go with.
Anybody else here wanna be on that? Mike, you wanna be on it?
I gotta pass right. Thanks, Amy.
Dale?
I think there's better candidates that are more familiar with the fire department than I am.
Yeah, I'll be on it, I mean, it's, how about, what do you say we have Adam on there? I'd like to see Adam on there. Adam, would you be willing to be on there?
Yeah, what a night to ask. That's not a good night to ask.
Ask me another night.
Yeah, it's not a good night to ask him. Oh, boy.
Who else, I mean, what do we want to do for getting this committee? We need to get this, okay, what I'd like to do, go ahead, Frank.
If I may, I don't wanna put the cart in front of the horse, or whatever analogy you wanna use, but it's important that you define the scope of the committee before, or the commission, if you're gonna call it a commission, before you appoint people to it, because if it is a true commission, then there shouldn't be any firefighters on it. If it's just a committee for setting up the fire department, then yes.
Yeah, that's what we wanna do, get a committee to set up the fire department. And then that committee, see, I think one of the duties of that committee will be to set up the commission and to pick a chief. I think that should be part of the committees, the fire committees, or whatever, to help you to figure out what has to be done to get the fire department set up, what equipment has to be bought, you know, whether we're gonna get it from the fire district, if there's something can be worked out with them. Seems less and less likely every day, but, whether they can, but I think, so that's, you're right, I think we probably don't wanna call it the fire commission, we wanna call it fire committee,
Okay,
Wheaton Fire Committee.
I would think you'll have a few firefighters on it, just because you guys know.
Oh, absolutely, but what I was getting at is, if it's a true municipal fire commission,
Right.
there shouldn't be firefighters on it.
Right.
Or
Right.
anybody that has anything to do, but if you're
Right.
doing like I don't know what the word.
And we don't really have to have a fire commission, we
No,
won't.
We're not a village.
Right, because we're not the village.
Thanks for your time.
All right.
thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
I'll get that stuff, I'll call them guys and I'll get with you.
Sounds good, thank you.
Good night, folks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I volunteered to be on that committee, and I think Dale would be an outstanding one. I know that he's got a great background in that, good perspective too, and I think he needs some encouragement.
I'll do it, but I don't know that much about our department and what we need for equipment.
that's good.
Well, we'll get a couple firemen on it then too. We'll have 5, 6 people on it.
That'd be people with a lot of different backgrounds.
Yeah, that's fine.
If Adam doesn't wanna do it, I'll volunteer,
Okay.
but he knows a lot more than I do.
Or both of you. Yeah, both of you be.
So what we need to do is we need to have this committee, the Wheaton Fire Committee set up starting by December, Rob? Get it set up and start by December,
Yeah,
Yep.
okay?
because
Start
it's,
in December. First meeting will be December 24th at 6 o'clock.
and you can kiss my you-know-what.
Well, I didn't tell you where the meeting was gonna
Right,
be.
location to be determined.
Wheaton's gotta run his sleigh then.
Okay, so start in December, we need to know, one of the first things we're gonna need to know is how we're going, what we have to do legally to set up the fire department. So, committee's gonna have to do some research, so that's one item is the legal terms, to get a process, legal terms process. Mostly we have to set up a process to get there. I think that's probably gonna be 6 months to get there. But we need to get that process in January if we can figure out what to do by January. I don't know, what you guys think, what, I mean, this isn't gonna happen terribly fast.
What?
I think that type of, have that type of outline for you after we meet the first time,
You wanna do that?
and come up with those, and then have the board approve our timeline.
Okay, we can do
Yeah,
that.
before
Criteria that we're gonna use.
before anything gets done, the department has to be, or needs to be established, or whatever you wanna call it. Registered, certified,
Yep, Yep.
accredited, whatever the correct word is.
right,
We need to get the FDID number and all that other stuff that goes along with that, so we can
yep,
do grants and paperwork and everything else that has to be done,
yeah.
so.
You were gonna check into some, you said you had some people offering you some, low interest loans, Mark? Did you get anything done with that?
No, but I will.
Okay.
We'll get, as we get into this, we'll have to work on where we can get low interest loans and all that stuff, so. All right. So we'll get this committee set up so that we can start meeting in December sometime, and then we'll move from there. Let's move on so we can get this stuff done. Brad, where do I have you on here? How can I put you?
New business,
G.
Can we move G? Let's move G up back. Is it all right if we move G
Yeah,
up?
jump him up.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
move
go.
G up. Go ahead.
thank you for doing that. Brad Schmidtnick, with 24/7 West Wisconsin Telecom.
Thanks, guys.
5808 Old Mill Plaza,
Good night.
Claire. Appearing before you again about the broadband grant, public-private partnership that we'd like to do with you folks for a small project up on County N. Basically, have had all the information to you folks prior to meetings.
Yep.
Hoping we can act on that to get it going.
Anybody have any problems with any of this? It's all of the agreement. Have you seen it? Everything?
Right.
Need a motion.
I make a motion that we go with the agreement, and that's where we're gonna pay $300 per household, correct?
Right.
Per address.
Per address
Per address.
for, and now and in the future, for something like this, an expansion if necessary.
I'll second.
it.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I turned up the heat when Alice was looking a little bit because I was cold, so we had to turn it down.
Oh, yeah.
You need these signed.
Yes, sir.
Who wanted to take second on that here?
How
I'm
many-
gonna give Ken credit.
You
for
need
that.
all
Okay.
3 of these?
You can keep
Beat you
one,
to
I
the
just
draw.
need two.
Okay.
Sorry, Alice. Next time.
Sorry it took that long.
That's okay.
I bet you had an interesting meeting to listen to, didn't you?
Yeah, it's very interesting, I'll give you that.
Thank you.
guys, appreciate
Thank
your
you.
effort. Mark, I'll keep you updated with any progress. The applications are due on the 19th of December. We don't expect to hear anything until February.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would mean that it's probably not getting done until maybe
Next,
June.
what, next spring?
July.
We'll see what happens. I mean, we're actually applying for 3 other projects.
Yep.
And, 2 other projects, and we'll have to shuffle, see how it's gonna work if we get all or none of them, so.
Yeah. Let me know.
Appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got rid of him.
Don't hit me on the way out.
All right.
Thank you.
You bet.
Good night.
Review, discuss, Wheaton Planning Commission to authorize the River Falls Survey Center to use all the surveys.
I'll make the motion, we take all the surveys, everybody's point matters.
I'll second it. Motion made and seconded to approve or take all the surveys. Have them use them all. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's with the exception of the 5 that went to one address.
Review, discuss, act on bids for landscape maintenance and irrigation. So that's these, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
These are all advertised. People, I don't know who bid, but I'm opening this and I'm not sure whose it is. So what is this? Irrigation maintenance. Who is this from?
Was that due this month?
Yeah.
Des Moines wasn't though, was it?
The Marine Master? Is that who this is, Marine Master?
Must be.
Yeah.
Is that for everything?
Okay, so this is a bid for irrigation maintenance for 2020 and 2021 season. As needed price per service. So what they have is 1A ball fields. We have 1A ball fields, 2 fields, area between 2 fields, and the road sign flower garden. Price per system startup is $96. Price per system shutdown and blowout is $96. And labor rate for irrigation repairs, $80. Service call up, up front. And then the price, I don't know. And then it's the price of the equipment, I guess, or the materials. Is that how that reads? 96, 96, and 80. Is that what it's saying?
Price per system, $96, yeah, price per system, $96, labor rate for irrigation, $80, service call. Yeah, upfront price, yeah, you're right,
Yeah, cause we asked for their labor rate,
Yep.
we asked for the labor rates.
yep.
Okay.
Is that what you did?
Who's that from again? Hey,
Rain Master.
Rainmaster?
So then we got a bid from, looks like we've got a bid from Natural Touch. We've got price per system startup, $210. Price per system shutdown, $255. And a labor rate for irrigation repairs, $82. Pass this down. Yeah. for that.
What was the
Man.
labor rate on the other one? 80 what? 80?
We've got a bid for landscape maintenance for 2020-2021 season, so this is for the mowing. Town hall and shop, price per mowing $65. Macomb Cemetery, $85. This is price per mowing. Rummery Cemetery, $85. Town boat landing, $65. Town park fire station, $150 per mowing. The ball fields at $150, all three fields. So the town park and the fire station's $150, and then the three fields, them by themselves, it's $150.
So it's $300 for the whole park.
Yep. But they do mow them different.
Different
times.
schedule.
Right.
Price per thatching, $500. Price for weed control and fertilization, he combined them because they're applied together.
Okay.
So he's doing the weed control and fertilization, and it's $900 for the two of them
So if I just
per
split it in half.
application.
Who's that though? Who's the guy, or who's the business?
This is Natural Touch.
Oh.
This was reading.
And this pricing assumes all of it is awarded as a group. So, you know, he doesn't wanna do just one thing, if it were separate. And I kinda went through the bid.
Sure.
We'll have to take that together. Whoops.
You trying to cut a little bit off there, were you?
Trying to cut his bid a little bit. Okay. So, what do you guys wanna do?
You don't have a mowing bid from Rainmaster, no?
No? It's the only thing I got. So,
How's this compared to last year's prices on mowing? Remember offhand?
I don't know if I got it on 19 or 19. No. Ball field. So, I mean, if we're, for the town hall, there's a little bit more. The cemeteries, it's quite a bit less. Boat landing, it's pretty much the same. Ball fields. Yeah, that's quite a bit less. Thatching's a little bit more.
that's only done once.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
more than the wash.
that's only done
Right.
once.
How about the fertilizing?
What's the difference in them, the ball fields? It was like
So,
150.
so the ball field difference, 350 to 150,
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be huge. That's huge.
Just on the ball fields alone?
just on,
That's $2,000
Yeah.
cheaper or more.
Yeah.
yeah, just on the ball fields.
Just for the ball fields, we're gonna save a couple $1,000. Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, town hall, I mean, $50 versus 65, So
Yeah,
I
we-
think
and we mow that a
we
total
vote,
of
we don't mow
5
that.
times or
The
6
cemeteries go from 150 to 85.
Yeah, so that's half the price almost.
Boat, like I said, boat landing's the same. No. And then town
Yeah, he
park,
told me he wasn't gonna,
I gotta find the, hang on here. No, hang on. I got the wrong line, mowing of surfaces,
we need a motion to accept it, or gonna accept it, or what do you guys wanna do?
He's just checking it here. I asked him to.
I think we should accept this motion, accept Natural Touches. Let's try it. Is this contract for 1 year or 2?
2 years.
For, whose contract is that?
Okay,
cheaper
so
one?
hang on, just so I'm clear. Okay, so it doesn't say the park and the fire station, but I'm assuming that's what this. So the park was $350 versus $150. The ball fields, because it says field services only, so goes from a $130 to $150. So,
Okay.
and then your application and your it was $400 for application of fertilizer. And again, we do that 3 times.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So,
It goes from what, 3 to 9, or 4 to 9?
yeah, their bid was $900 for the fertilizer application and the weed control
Each
Right,
time or
as-
total?
As a whole,
as a
yeah, so that's even, or really close.
price per application.
Okay,
So $450 versus $400. So.
yeah.
And who's got that bid?
That was Natural Touch.
Okay. You made a
So-
motion? I'll second it.
But I didn't make it yet.
Oh, I thought you did.
No,
Go ahead, Vicky.
I was going to make it.
I'll make a motion. We
I'll
accept the bid.
second it.
Which one are we accepting both?
No.
The irrigation and the,
Oh.
what are we doing?
The landscape bid for
Natural Touch.
Natural Touch,
Yes,
Mowing only,
mowing only.
by Wayne and Alice.
Yep.
yes.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now, the irrigation maintenance. I guess use Rain Master. They're quite a bit cheaper, or, you know. So, go ahead.
I'll make a motion. We go with Rainmaster for the irrigation.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to go with Rainmaster for the irrigation maintenance. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Review, discuss, act on transfer of $120,000 from 2019 operating capital line item to the 2019 tornado fund line. Need a motion.
I'll make the motion. We transfer $120,000 from 2019 operating capital line to the 2019 tornado fund.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to transfer money from the operating capital line to the tornado fund line, in the amount of $120,000. All in favor signify by, no, we gotta do roll call on this one, Scott.
Ken Books,
Aye.
Bud Beckwith, Wayne Miller,
Aye.
Alice Drosky,
Aye.
Mark Laskowski.
Aye. Motion carried. Review, discuss, act on the approval of all ordinances as previously recommended to a plan commission and the town lawyer. I make a motion, we approve all of these, we've been through them a dozen times, we approve
Yep.
the ordinances as we wrote them.
But just so you know, I just gotta tell you now, just so you know, chapter 17, the commercial, chapter 9, the 5 acre, and chapter 11, the subdivision are not in here because they're land use ordinances and they'll have to have public hearings. We're gonna try to have public hearings on
Okay.
those at the same time that we have our, open house, you know, and all of
Yep.
that. Okay, but otherwise,
Okay.
everything else is ready to be passed.
Okay, so everything except for 9, 17,
And
and
11.
9, 11, and 17. all other ordinances,
We can pass
I
tonight.
make a motion, we pass the rest of them.
Well, I'll second it.
Wait. To pass all ordinances except what?
Except 9, 11, and 17. Just because we gotta have a public hearing for that, we'll,
And we'll do that when we have the open, the
Right.
open house for the,
the
comp plan. What
Comp
time is it? It's
workers'
getting
comp.
late.
No.
That's what I was gonna say. Sorry.
Oh, well.
Okay, so you made the motion, I seconded it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
motion carried. Okay?
Did you object?
Review, discuss, act
No, I
on
voted aye.
thank you notes and ads in newspapers and possible personal visits by Alice to businesses and others that donated goods, materials, and financial support for the 2019 tornado cleanup efforts. So Alice, you had the
Oh,
thing.
bring up the thank you, would you please, Ken?
Yep.
Well, I don't know, do we wanna place something like this in the paper? And then, do we wanna put a thank you like this in the Herald? It'll be free in the Herald, well, no, if you don't wanna do it. If we wanted to do something like, a box that would have to pay for it, if we put it in the Voice of the People, we wouldn't have to. But I know,
guess I don't care if we have to pay for it. I think
'Cause
it's worth doing it.
there's,
Put it in the paper.
there's the Herald, the leader.
How much is that, Scott? How much is it to put it in the paper?
On the weekend?
Oh,
That's $70 probably, 75, something like that. The notice for the irrigation bids was 60. This is probably longer than that. So 75. I won't know until I do it.
I think it's worth doing.
I think for the thousands of dollars and, money that was received and stuff, I think, yes.
Where
I
would
think we
you-
should just add in equipment too, cause there was a lot of
Yeah,
Okay.
equipment that
On this
was.
here, yeah.
yes,
I have to put something about equipment?
I
yes.
think we should, because there's a lot of equipment that was donated.
Yeah.
I guess I thought it was, when it said it, we would like to thank all the
Yeah.
businesses who donated their time that took
Yeah.
care of the equipment, but it doesn't, huh? That's fine.
Time and
Yeah.
their employees in the cleanup of the efforts.
Cool.
And time and,
Time,
and
equipment, and their
Oh,
employees.
donated their
Yeah.
time and equipment?
Yeah. Time, equipment, and their employees.
Okay,
And-
so you
and
want,
materials.
Yeah, that was.
Like auto glass, replace the
so say equipment in
windows
there
on the,
somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so,
for
because
nothing.
the wear and tear went on their equipment.
Oh, that's
so,
great, I never thought, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
You know,
Okay, then, where would we put it though? Are we gonna put it like in the Herald and the Leader Telegram?
I think in Herald is
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Just in one paper?
I think you could do them both.
It's up to you guys. The
Uh-huh.
Herald's cheaper for sure, but you're
Well,
not reaching in
the
there. to make
Colfax
it.
Messenger will, did a lot of people come from the Colfax area to help us,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
think?
Everybody.
That's $15 to put it in there, that's not a big deal.
A lot of people came out of Eau Claire too.
Could
Do they have a newspaper?
How much is Eau Claire's?
I don't know what the
Like I
Leader,
said, Eau Claire, I think that would probably be $75.
Oh, and the Herald would be less.
Less than, probably half.
well, then we should, could we, but I think,
Just put them in. I mean, if it's under $150, what difference does it make? I mean, it's worth doing, I think that's worth spending that amount of money to thank all these people.
In what category,
I
like
think.
notices? I don't know.
Yeah, notices.
I just thought that, I had written down, the Herald, the Leader Telegram, and the Colfax Messenger.
That's fine, because that sounds like that it'll be
'Cause-
under $150.
Cause that kinda really encompasses, I think, the whole area.
Yeah.
Is that all right, guys?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll rewrite this then and send it around and you guys can tell me if it's okay. I'll rewrite it tomorrow.
Do we need a motion to do that?
Yep, need a motion.
I make a motion that have Alice send that out.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Okay, I'm gonna write this for motion by Wayne and Ken to publish
Thank you.
But wait a minute, now, what about going for personal visits? You gonna do any of that?
Sure, go for that too.
Well, we can talk, can I get together with Scott and see like who maybe the top 10 people were and then go in there and say thanks and shake
Sure.
their hands?
Yeah, do that.
Something
That'd
like
be
that, I
really
can get together with Scott and we'll talk about it.
I did attend the Elk Mountain School Board meeting at their October meeting and just extended a thank you
Right.
Okay.
from us. That very warm reception, they really appreciated, you know, the feedback from us and working with them, and you know, also kind of gave them an opportunity to, you know.
The kids really wanted to come out and help. They
Yeah.
really did. The 450 kids from the Elk Mountain School, middle school and high school, came and raked out the shavings and went through some of the fields for pickup. They wanted to do their part.
They even had told me as well that to extend an Adam isn't here, but you know, Adam's efforts and you know the board members and Kelly, my wife, for putting all the maps together for when the kids came out. They just said that it was just very, very, very awesome group to work with. So
Good.
Yeah.
Kelly did a great job doing that.
yeah.
All right, and then Alice is gonna go get with Scott and figure out
I will,
a bunch of them, and,
yeah.
you know,
Like
not
the-
trying to slight anybody, it's hard to get to everybody, we don't know everybody, but,
Well, this covers, you know, we're trying to cover everybody here,
Yeah.
but if there's got, I mean, I kinda made a list, and I thought who the top 10 were, and you'll be able to tell me, and
yeah, that's good.
we'll just try something like that, huh?
Yep, yep,
I
good.
think it'd be good. All right.
Review, discuss, act on the possible hiring of someone to enforce the ordinances and levy fines and permit, as permitted by the ordinances. So, I haven't talked to anybody about that, what are we gonna do with that? You wanna put that on old business for next month
Well,
and discuss it, or do you
Well,
got?
no, we can discuss it next month, but my thought is, I don't think we need a constable. It would be nice to have somebody who, when there was a complaint, got called only per that service.
Right,
You know,
Right.
that type, we don't need somebody full-time.
right.
But somebody that would, you know,
I haven't
could
talked to
pay.
anybody, but I'd like
Right.
to talk to Chris.
But we
first.
need to do something because there's no sense to have these ordinances if we aren't gonna enforce them.
Right. Well,
Correct?
Absolutely,
All right, so next month we'll put this on?
yeah,
All right,
well, I'll get that, and I'll get a hold of a couple of people and find out what we have to do to get somebody to do that, exactly. Okay.
Decision
Review
table till December, got it.
Yep. Review, discuss, act on proposed sign regulation amendments from Doug Clary, Chippewa County zoning.
Put
What do
that
we
up.
need to do with that? Should
do you
we
wanna bring that up?
go to the 21st, meeting on the 21st, or?
There's a
It is
this
really-
thing went from a handful of pages. It's 10 pages. There's more red
Yeah, 11.
markings in here than there is actual
Right.
markings.
Right, that's
I
correct.
think what we need to do is go to the meeting on the 21st, that's the 21st, right? At 7?
I'll be deer hunting.
I don't sure what time.
Oh, I don't know that I'll be home either.
What day is
I'll be deer hunting. I go for 10 days.
I can find it here, just
Jerry
a
will-
minute.
November 21st?
It's only gonna take you 20 minutes, Wayne.
Huh?
It's only gonna take you 20 minutes.
I ain't driving back from up north for that.
That's a
Oh, it's
Thursday.
Have Doug come here.
20 minutes to get a deer, that's all it's gonna take.
It's a
Well,
Thursday.
Then I get to relax.
Season doesn't open till the 23rd, 24th.
So I mean,
Did the
there's
21st?
there's so many pieces. There's one part in here that says if you have an illuminated sign, you have to
Yep.
give them the ability to post government information on the sign.
Right,
It's their sign. How can we put something in an ordinance that says we can put a, now if they want to, if that business or whoever has the sign wanted to help out in a situation,
Right.
but that's their call to make. They're the ones spending the money on the sign,
I
not.
saw that in there.
There was that piece, and then it's talking about you can't no message may be repeated at intervals of less than 2 seconds, and no segmented message may last longer than 10 seconds. Are we out there with stopwatches now? To this, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. But this thing,
Well, that's what
this
I
thing
read
looks
that
like it
and I
went from
I
3
gotta go to the
pages to
meeting.
10.
I said, I read it and I was reading through that and I went, I'm so confused, I can't, I gotta hear somebody talk about this
Right.
before I can even figure out what I wanna say.
And who's enforcing all these?
Oh, this is just amazing.
Nobody's enforcing it unless somebody
But, I mean,
complains, that's the part.
Yeah, but
That's
you
the
got a
bad
part in here
part.
that talks about sign maintenance, and
Yeah.
sure, you can drive around, there's some signs that need maintenance. We're not even enforcing the pieces that are in the ordinance, so why are we adding another 6 pages to this when we can't even enforce the 4 that are there? I don't know, I'm not on board with it.
I'm not either. I looked at it and I went, are you kidding me? What we need to do is get rid of the sign ordinances, is what we need to do. And get something reasonable, I don't know, there's gotta be a better way of doing these ordinances. I understand what the problem with signs.
Is this something we're supposed to be getting back to Doug Clary with an answer, Don?
He wanted us to look at
Can
it.
we give them an answer, we're not in
Yeah.
favor of at all?
Let's take a vote on it. I'm not for it.
I think it's so complex that I can't decide, I haven't had it long enough. It's gonna take me a month to study that and figure out what it, and talk to people to figure out what it's even talking
I mean,
about.
they add a part in here, nonprofit organizations designated by their association shall be allowed to place a sign face after receiving town board approval. Prior to placement of sign face shall not exceed 8 square feet. I mean, we rely on nonprofits that do a lot of volunteer work in the township, in the city areas, and now we're gonna say you can't have a sign that would increase membership in your group? Just, I don't know.
I think you're right. I think that the only way to do this is go to the meeting on the 21st and express the displeasure with it, because it's just so complicated. It's such a complex issue.
Why don't we just relay that to him and just say, till it's better explained, or, you know, go, like he said, it goes from 4 to 11 pages.
Here's the original one he wrote to you, remember? I hope you're, well, it's the Terminal in Wisconsin, yeah. He's been working on this proposal for 2 years now.
Pretty soon you'll have to have.
Well, yeah, we had to add 6
A draft
pages.
of the proposed changes to that, that's the changes that he's making to it.
Right.
And the county board, first, reading, and then a second reading if required.
Right.
What's the conclusion? Tell me what you want.
We didn't,
I'll make a motion, we are not
Accepting it.
accepting any of these changes in
And
this,
I'll
in this
second it.
proposed.
Motion made and seconded that the town board of Wheaton is not in favor of accepting any of the changes of this sign ordinance as presented.
Correct.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll write Doug a letter.
oh, you will, okay.
I'll write the letter tomorrow.
I'll double check my schedule, I might be able to go on the 21st.
Yeah, I don't know what we wanna do with that, and we still got that other one too that I got.
Before
I don't
we,
know.
before we,
What other
what,
Oh,
did they
yeah.
ever fix 50th Street up here, that mile or something that they're supposed to redo this year?
No, not yet.
Are they gonna do that next year?
Yes.
They were supposed to do it last year.
Okay.
So
'Cause
told me,
I had a
first
couple
one on
people
the
ask me.
list, then I said, are you sure? Yep, first one on the list. I said, no, really, first one on the list. Yeah, we think, no, first one on the list. Because otherwise it's gonna cost you guys a lot of money. Because I'll just cut their bill in half. They're gonna start pulling that, so.
Have they even been paid for the first layer?
Yeah. But yeah, they're not gonna, I'm not putting up with that. And then he knows, and then they went, yeah, we will get there first. So,
Cause I've
they're
had a
going
couple
to have
people
to
ask
start a
me.
plant up, just so they can finish Wheaton's work now at this point. But they better do it.
Okay, closed session.
We got need to have a motion made to adjourn to a closed session per 1985 1C, considering compensation and performance evaluation data for the town road employee having completed 6 months of employment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Ken Books,
Aye.
Bud Beckwith, Wayne Miller,
Aye.
Alice Drosky,
Aye.
Mark Plaskowski.
And I'll tell you what, if you guys don't, do you guys care if they're here? I don't care if they're here
I don't
at all.
care.
If you guys wanna stay, you can stay if you want. I mean, you don't need to take off.
You gonna take
can
this
stay.
off?
I mean, this is about Matt, so we decided to give Matt a raise of $1 an hour at this point.
Effective when? I guess I,
Effective,
Retroactive back
September,
to
he was
September was year,
Yeah,
or 6
he was
months.
hired in April.
well, we should've done this a long time,
Wait, wait.
but we were
The
kinda busy.
tornado came.
Well, I think it should be retroactive back to 6
Sep-
months, that's what it was
Yeah,
supposed to be.
September. Because
Oh,
the
I guess
tornado
I
hit,
don't-
that's
I
why we
don't-
didn't do it.
I don't know that we need to do that, but.
But just give them $1, okay.
I would do effective on the paycheck that's gonna come up next week, which would
Yeah.
make that effective back to the middle of August, or middle of October.
Yeah,
That's what I would do.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Let's do that.
I'll do that.
Otherwise, if it was, otherwise,
Yes.
if
The
it was,
dollar.
if it was effective now, I'd probably wait until the paycheck after this one, because they're actually working on this
Then
next
give
one
them
now.
50 cents in February.
Yeah.
Yep, I got that.
Okay,
I wrote
let's
that.
do
That's
that.
cheap for a road man.
And then, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we give, Matt Solberg $1 an hour raise.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Any potential agenda items? Oh, we already know what them are.
Well, hiring someone to enforce ordinances.
Okay.
What else? Anything else? What else?
I'll look back through here.
Well,
Discuss-
There isn't anything else. Oh, the fire stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Discuss the lawyer.
Oh, well, we
Next
should.
Turn
meeting,
this back
Tuesday,
on.
December 10th. Motion to adjourn.
Motion,
Motion
I
ma-
make a
to
motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried.